22 missed calls. That's what lit up my phone the morning my parents were supposed to sail away on their anniversary cruise, the one I paid $12,000 for. The night before, my dad had texted, "We just thought it might be better without you." I didn't fight. I didn't beg. I just wrote back, "Sure thing." They took that as surrender. But when the ship refused to let them board, they finally learned what silence can cost. Because this wasn't a story about money. It was about what happens when the family problem stops paying to belong. My name's Clara Vance. For most of my life, family peace was something I had to buy. Flights, hotels, birthday dinners. If I paid for it, we could all pretend things were fine. So, when my parents' 40th anniversary came around, I did what I always do. I handled everything. 2 upgraded cabins, shore excursions, spa add-ons, even a night at a seaside hotel so Mom wouldn't complain about early flights. $12,000 gone in one click. It wasn't about the money. I told myself it was a gift, a chance to make us feel like a family again. Mom Eleanor loved perfection. She wanted pictures. She could post captions about gratitude and grace. Dad Robert played the calm one. His version of peace was silence as long as no one challenged her. My older sister Chloe always got the favorite child edit, fragile, unpredictable, the one we all had to tiptoe around. And then there was Lily, the youngest, 16. Sweet, still believing family meant safety. I used to believe that, too. The week before the cruise, the group chat went quiet. No updates about packing, no questions about tickets. When I texted Eleanor, just sent a vague "can't wait" with a heart emoji. Chloe didn't respond at all. Lily, who usually flooded me with memes and outfit photos, stopped texting completely. That silence had a sound. It hummed like the moment before a power outage. I told myself I was overthinking, that they were just busy. But deep down, I knew that quiet was a warning. 2 nights before departure, I called Robert, running through flight times the way I always did. He sounded cheerful, almost rehearsed. "Oh, we've arranged our own shuttle," he said. Something cold twisted in my stomach. What shuttle? There was a pause long enough for the truth to form. Then he said it. "We just thought it might be better without you." I stared at the wall, the words sinking in. Better without me, after everything. The phone slipped from my hand. Leo, my boyfriend, looked up from the couch, reading my face before I said a word. I didn't scream or cry. I just picked up my phone, opened their message thread, and typed 2 words. Sure thing. I didn't sleep that night. The message burned on my screen long after it went dark. I paid for the cruise, but somehow I was still the outsider, the extra piece in their perfect family portrait. Every few minutes, my phone lit up again with old texts from Mom. Remember to pack sunscreen. You're the best, honey. Each one felt like a lie. Now carefully written to buy time before the betrayal. At 6:13 the next morning, I made coffee. The house was quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the faint tick of the wall clock. Leo leaned against the counter, studying me. Did they say why I shook my head? Just that it would be better without me. He exhaled slowly. That's not better. That's cowardice. I didn't answer. I just stared out the kitchen window, watching sunlight crawl across the street. I'd spent my whole life fixing their messes. Maybe this time I'd let them sit in one. By 7 a.m., my phone started buzzing again, but not with apologies. Eleanor's voice filled the first voicemail. Furious, clipped on the verge of tears. Clara, this is ridiculous. They won't let us board without the card holder present. You have to call them right now. I took a sip of coffee. No, I don't, I whispered. 22 missed calls later, I finally picked up. Clara, she snapped, voice shrill. We're standing here with our bags like criminals. I put her on speaker. Leo watched from the doorway, arms folded. You should have thought about that. Before deciding I wasn't worth having around, I said evenly. You're humiliating us, she yelled. No, I replied. You did that yourselves. Then I hung up. 3 hours later, the pounding started. Sharp, impatient knocks rattled my front door. I stood at the top of the stairs, watching their shadows blur through the frosted glass. Leo came up beside me. Want me to handle it? I shook my head. No, I want to see their faces. Eleanor barged in first, all perfume and fury. Robert followed quietly, trying to play peacemaker. It's beyond childish, Clara, she snapped. Do you know how much you embarrassed us? I think I have an idea, I said. Robert lifted his hands. Let's not yell. We just need to talk this out. That phrase, talk this out, was their code for you'll take the blame. When Leo stepped forward barefoot and calm, Eleanor turned her anger toward him. Ever since you started dating him, you've changed. You've become cold, distant, calculating. Leo didn't flinch. He just said, leave. His voice was low, but final. You don't get to insult her in her own home and still expect her to fix your mistake. 30 seconds. For a moment, even Mom went silent. Then she turned, muttering something about ungrateful children, and slammed the door behind her. The quiet that followed was heavier than any shout. It was the sound of something breaking and staying broken. For 3 days, the house stayed quiet. No calls, no messages, just silence, thick and waiting like the air before a storm. I tried to work, but every sound, the ping of an email, the creak of the floorboards felt like a memory knocking. Leo said nothing, just kept making coffee for 2. That was his way of telling me I wasn't alone. On the 4th morning, my phone started buzzing again. 22 missed calls stacked one after another. Same number, same desperation. I didn't answer. Not until the 23rd ring. Clara. Eleanor's voice exploded through the speaker, sharp with panic. They won't let us board. They said the card holder has to be here in person. I set my mug down deliberately slow. That's strange, I said. Because you told me it would be better without me. This isn't funny. You're making us look ridiculous. No, Mom. You did that yourselves. I hung up and turned my phone face down. Leo leaned against the counter, his mouth curved in that calm, knowing half-smile. Consequences, he said simply. I nodded. Finally, by noon, the doorbell rang again. Heavy, furious knocks. I didn't move. I watched from the top of the stairs as their shadows reappeared behind the glass. Eleanor's posture stiff. Robert slumped like he already regretted coming. Leo asked quietly. You sure you want to open it? I said, yes, I want to see how they spin it this time. Eleanor burst in without waiting for permission. Her hair was frizzed from humidity, her lipstick uneven. Clara, do you understand what you've done? They treated us like scammers. Everyone at the port saw. I crossed my arms. Maybe next time don't commit credit card fraud. Her eyes widened. Excuse me. You used my card for a trip you disinvited me from. That's theft, Mom. Robert stepped forward. Sweetheart, we just need to talk this out. There it is again, I cut in. That phrase, the one you use when you want me to take the blame, Eleanor's voice cracked. You embarrassed us. We are your parents, I'm aware, I said quietly. And you made sure everyone else is, too. Leo came down the stairs, then barefoot, hands in his pockets. His calmness made her angrier. Ever since you met him, you've changed, she shouted. He smiled faintly. She learned how to stop paying for her own humiliation. For a second, no one spoke. Then Mom turned to leave, muttering curses under her breath. The door slammed. This time I didn't flinch. I just let the silence settle thick and peaceful. It didn't feel like loss anymore. It felt like the start of something I should have done years ago. I didn't hear from them for 3 days. Then on the 4th night, Robert texted dinner. Just you. We need to talk. No apology. No explanation, just an invitation that read like a summons. I told Leo I'd go, but asked him to wait across the street. He nodded without trying to change my mind. That was the thing about him. He knew the difference between rescuing and witnessing. Their porch light was already on when I pulled up, too bright, too welcoming, like a stage set. Inside, the good dishes were out. Napkins folded, silverware polished, the bottle of wine I'd gifted them last Christmas uncorked as if generosity could be recycled. Chloe greeted me first with a brittle smile, the kind she wore to funerals and photos. Lily didn't look up. Her shoulders were tight and tired. Eleanor floated in like a hostess on television. Robert took his seat at the head of the table, hands folded, the performance of a reasonable man. We tried small talk. It clattered to the floor between us. After a few forkfuls of roast chicken, I couldn't taste. Robert cleared his throat and leaned back, the signal that we'd reached the real script. It's a shame the cruise didn't work out, he said lightly, like the weather had canceled it. But the family still needs a break. We found a great deal resort in Arizona. 5 nights, spa, infinity pool. Eleanor slid a glossy pamphlet across the table as if she were my travel agent. If we all split it, it will be easier for you. Easier for me. Always for me. I kept my face still. Who's paying? Robert chuckled. You handle logistics so well, Chloe added. You always do. The room tilted a little. I looked at Lily, whose lips pressed into a thin, brave line. She whispered so quietly I almost missed it. They won't stop. Eleanor's head snapped toward her. Enough. I pushed back my chair. I'll think about it. Outside, the air felt cleaner. Leo sat in the parked car watching the porch. I slid in and said nothing. He didn't ask. We drove home without speaking, the kind of silence that protected rather than punished. The next day, a gift bag appeared on my doorstep. Gold foil leaves, a white bow knotted too tight. I brought it inside, set it on the coffee table, and stared at it for a long time. Leo raised an eyebrow. Do we open it or call it what it is? I opened it. Inside a crisp envelope, a folded brochure, a printout thicker than it needed to be. When I saw my name at the top of the reservation confirmation, my stomach dropped. 5 nights Villa Desert Peak Resort. Guest Clara Vance. Additional guest. I flipped to the back. The payment line made my vision sharpen. Card ending in 1174. My card. They'd used the stored information from the cruise. Again, the air left my lungs, not from the amount I could handle, but from the message. You don't get to choose. We do. Leo came in from the kitchen when he saw my face. What happened? They used my card, I said. It's non-refundable. He watched me for a long second and then asked very softly. So, what do you want to do? I turned the papers over. The dates were this weekend. Check in under my name. My responsibility, my power if I wanted it. They expect me to cancel, I said. To fix what they broke, to eat it. Then don't, he said. That landed in me like a key clicking open. We packed light. Sunscreen, 2 paperback sunglasses. I forwarded the booking to my email again. My name, my address, my confirmations, my payments. Receipts sat in a neat folder on my phone. Quiet soldiers lined up in a row. The flight was short. Arizona air greeted us like a warm hand. The resort lobby was glass and desert stone, soft music and cooler air. A woman at the front desk looked up and smiled. Welcome, Ms. Vance. The sound of my name, in that tone, welcoming, not demanding, loosened something at the base of my neck. She handed over the key cards. Check-in took 10 minutes. That's all. 10 minutes to feel like I had stepped back into my own life. The suite was bigger than the photos. A private terrace looked out over rust-red rock. There was a plunge pool the size of a generous bath, a bowl of oranges, linen curtains that moved like someone breathing. Leo set our bags down and whistled. This is nicer than I pictured. It should be, I said. I paid for it twice. We did nothing for 2 days. Hiked a small trail that smelled like sun-warmed sage. Ate breakfast on the terrace while a lizard watched us like a bored concierge. Napped with the curtains open. No calls, no texts. I put my phone on airplane mode and felt my body remember what quiet could be. On the 3rd morning, I turned it back on. Notifications rushed in like water through a broken pipe. Missed calls, messages, voicemails. The first one that loaded made me short laugh, not because it was funny, but because it was so predictable. Eleanor, did you seriously take the trip? Robert, the resort says the room is occupied. You need to fix this. You humiliated us again. There were texts from Chloe peppered with words like selfish and dramatic. There was one from Dad that tried the old soft landing, your mother is upset. We didn't think it would go this far. It had gone exactly as far as their choices had taken it. A voicemail from Chloe played next. Breathless, incredulous. They won't let them in. They said the reservation is under your name only. This is low, Clara. I took a slow breath in and pressed record on a new voicemail to Mom. My voice sounded steady and adult in a way it rarely had with her. You stole from me. This is what happens when you steal. I hung up and set the phone down like it was finally just a device again. By afternoon, the narrative had spilled online. My cousin Megan posted a group photo from a backyard barbecue with a caption about family first. No drama, just love. Underneath a comment, where's Clara? A minute later, Mom replied, she chose not to come. We don't know why. She's been acting strange. My chest tightened, not with surprise. This was her specialty, the public rewrite, but with a quiet kind of fatigue. A moment later, a new message arrived from Lily. They're lying. I'm sorry. She attached a photo of the old cruise itinerary I'd put together. My name at the top as the payer. The line items neat as bones. Then I'm going to tell the truth. You don't owe me that. I typed back. Take care of yourself. But the family wheels were already turning. Aunt Susan sent, "Can you share the invoice?" I had a feeling 2 cousins messaged within the hour. "Is it true they used your card again?" I didn't rant. I didn't explain. I sent screenshots, payments, statements, receipts. Every time I pressed send, the anger in my ribs loosened another notch. Facts are calmer than apologies. Facts don't shake. By evening, the group chat I'd muted months ago lit up with 36 new messages. Confusion, defensiveness, thinly veiled scolding. I didn't participate. I poured sparkling water into a glass, walked out to the terrace, and watched the rock faces go gold. Leo joined me shoulder to shoulder. "You know what this feels like?" He asked, like the moment when a bully realizes the teacher's been standing in the doorway the whole time. I smiled. The teacher is the terms and conditions. Exactly. The next morning, a block number called twice. On the third try, curiosity won. Robert's voice arrived careful. Each word placed like a chess piece. "We didn't think it would go this far. Your mother is upset." "You used my money," I said twice. "That was a misunderstanding," he said. "You thought my silence was permission," I replied. A pause. "We're sorry if things were misinterpreted." There it was. The apology for my reaction, not their action. I didn't give it oxygen. I ended the call. By noon, an envelope slid under my door at the resort. Thick cards, stock, gold leaf, my mother's handwriting a little more jagged than usual. "We didn't mean for it to go this far. We just wanted to feel appreciated. Sorry if we crossed a line." There was no check, no offer to reverse charges, just the plea to restore the hierarchy where I paid and they forgave. I set the card on the table and went swimming. When we flew home 2 days later, the air in our house felt like it belonged to us. No leftover shouting lingering in the corners. No old guilt stuffed into drawers. I made coffee. Leo fed our plant and put on an old record that sounded like summer. By evening, the family narrative had started to buckle. Megan posted a vague quote about people who smile at you while rewriting you behind your back. Eleanor's best friend stopped liking her posts. Aunt Susan sent a final text. "You deserve better." I told them so. Robert went quiet. He always did when flames licked the truth. Then Lily called. She didn't say hello. She breathed for a second, then whispered. "They told me to block you." "I won't," I sat down. "Are you sure?" "Yes," she said steadier. "I'm spending Christmas with you and Leo. If that's okay." "It's more than okay," I said. "It's home." After we hung up, I opened the folder on my phone one last time. Payments, receipts, statements, small rectangles of proof that I had spent years buying a version of love that never existed. The resort photos sat above them, orange light, open sky, my feet at the edge of the plunge pool. I saved those, too. Not as proof to anyone else, but as proof to myself. That night, as I lay in bed with the window cracked to let the cool in, I realized the confrontation was over. It hadn't ended with a slammed gavel or a heroic speech. It had ended with a boundary that held, with stolen money rerouted into my own peace, with silence that finally belonged to me. 3 months passed after that last message. No calls, no sudden family emergencies, no new drama, just quiet, the kind that doesn't ache anymore. Life began to take on a rhythm I didn't know I'd been missing. I woke up without dread in my chest. I cooked breakfast without rehearsing imaginary arguments. Every time I checked my bank app, I smiled not at the balance, but at the calm behind it. The only transactions now were mine. Lily came to stay for 2 weeks in February, bringing her nervous laugh and too many hoodies. We painted the living room while Leo played old records in the background. We didn't talk much about our parents. Some wounds don't need words. They need distance. One night she asked quietly, "Do you think Mom really believed what she did was okay?" I thought for a long time before answering. "I think she believed whatever made her comfortable," I said. "Some people mistake comfort for love." Lily nodded slowly. "I used to think family meant forgiving anything. Now I think it means not letting it happen again." That's when I realized she'd crossed the same bridge I had, just younger, braver. When she left for college, she hugged me tight. "Thank you," she whispered, "for showing me what peace looks like." After her flight, I sat in the car crying happy tears this time. By spring, the whispers had stopped. My parents went silent online. No family photos, no quotes about forgiveness. The facade had cracked and they were too busy holding it together to post. Peace isn't quiet because there's nothing left to say. It's quiet because you finally stopped explaining yourself to people who never listened. Now, when people ask if I miss my parents, I tell them the truth. I miss the idea of them, the version I kept paying for, not the reality that kept taking. The real loss wasn't the cruise or the money. It was the years I spent believing love had to be earned through suffering. These days, Leo and I host a small workshop at the local library, Boundaries and Balance. It started as a joke, but somehow turned into a circle of people learning the same thing I did. Peace isn't selfish. It's survival. Sometimes after the sessions end, I sit by the window and think about that Arizona sky, white and gold. That's what freedom looks like. Ordinary, steady, earned. If you've ever been the one holding a family together until it broke, tell me in the comments. Because maybe your silence has power.